Hello guys, Dan here from kookytech.net with my first video of 2014, so Happy New Year. If you watched my video I did just after Christmas, you may remember I was talking about hoping to pick up a shiny new toy that you might be able to see on the desk next to me. I've now got myself a PlayStation 4. I actually got it completely by chance. Walked into my local supermarket, Asda, on New Year's Eve. I was doing a bit of shopping, getting stocked up for a New Year's Eve party. On the off chance, I thought I'd go to the entertainment desk and ask if they had any in stock. Fully expecting of course we haven't, you're going to be waiting weeks. To my surprise, they had one left in the storeroom and I walked out there and then with a brand new Killzone pack of PlayStation 4. So that's the one I've actually got, the Killzone Shadowfall pack. Got a few extra games as well since then. I've got Need for Speed Rivals, Knack, which is kind of like a Pixar platformer game. Bit childish, but it's kind of fun. Injustice, Gods Among Us, Putty Squad as well, the HD update of the old Amiga game, which I thought I kind of owed that to System 3 to buy that on the PlayStation 4 since they released the Amiga version after 20 years of waiting. I think it was on Christmas Eve they brought that out, so I thought, thank you to them, I go out and buy it on the PS4, and it's actually a really nice update of it. However, this video, let's put my games down over there, is going to be a reply to a subject I keep seeing discussed all the time at the moment, and in particular, a couple of videos I've seen recently. Adam Korlak made a video on this subject, and if you don't watch him on YouTube, definitely recommend you subscribe. He has a great gaming channel. I'll put a link in my description below. And Linus from Linus Tech Tips, who recently did a guest kind of video with Chris Perillo, where they were chatting in a coffee shop about this subject, and I also see it on forums and Reddit posts, I must see this all the time at the moment. People predicting that this is going to be the final generation of video game consoles as we know it. So basically, the PS4 will be the final PlayStation that Sony make. The Xbox One will be the final one from Microsoft. The Wii U will be the last one from Nintendo, even though it's a bit more of a possibility. And the main prediction I see is that rather than playing on consoles, these are going to take over and be the main way that we game in 5 to 10 years from now. Now, before we discuss whether that's going to happen or not, let's have a quick look at the PlayStation 4. Now, here in Britain, the PlayStation 4, in its first week on sale, already broke a record. It became the fastest selling video game system in history. In the 30 years of this industry, the PlayStation 4 became the fastest selling system. In its first 5 days on sale, it sold over 500,000 units. Now, that even performed the best-selling console ever, the PlayStation 2, which, as we know, went on to sell, I think it was 155 million units around the world. At the moment, the PS4 is on course to overtake that, so it's doing very well. Now, there is only one thing that's kind of holding back PlayStation 4 sales, and that is they cannot supply the demand of them around the world at the moment. They cannot make these things quick enough to supply all the people that want them all around the world. So that is not a bad position to be in. And Adam even mentions in his video that Sony currently are a $17 billion company, I think he said. So it's not like they're doing badly at the moment. They've got a fair bit of money in the bank. And another subject he made as well, which to me proves that there will be a next PlayStation and that really they cannot afford not to make a next generation system, is that Sony basically are PlayStation now. When was the last big Sony innovation? It was probably Minidisc, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And you don't look at Sony televisions as being kind of the pinnacle of the industry anymore. Sony are only really on top in consoles. Other companies outperform them and have better kit in other sectors of the technology industry. So to me, Sony is PlayStation pretty much these days. And being a $17 billion company, I haven't got the financial breakdown as to how much of that is from PlayStation. And I know you could argue they have launched PlayStation now to kind of get the PlayStation brand out there a bit more, and you'll be able to play PS games on your tablet and your phone and everything. But I kind of see that as a side business to their main business, which will be producing the consoles and getting licensing money from games and titles that run on their hardware. I can't see them, Sony execs, sitting around a desk going, alright, the PS4 is doing really well so far. Tell you what though, we will not make a PlayStation 5. Instead, we'll just license games to be played on a TV from Samsung or Toshiba. I can't see that happening personally. So, and recently I think, we did officially get off the record that Microsoft have said, there is going to be a next generation Xbox. I'm sure I read that somewhere recently. I couldn't cite a source for it, but I'm sure I have seen that around. Now, if we look to the other point, that basically everyone's got smartphones at the moment. Now, I will admit, mobile chipsets are improving at a dramatic rate. I think from what I've seen, the the Tegra 5 chipset that's due out soon this year, Tegra 5 is set to be around the same standard as an Xbox 360 or a PS3, maybe slightly more. And then they reckon after that, Tegra 6 will probably be at the same level as a PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. So that that is an incredible achievement for a mobile chipset. The only thing is, how much will a Tegra 5, Tegra 6 phone cost you? What's that going to be, like £900 to buy one of those? It's not going to be cheap at first. And also, we've got a problem of, while GPU and CPU technology is improving, battery life is not keeping up at the same rate. You look at, for example, the new iPhone or new Samsung phones, you're still only getting maximum half a day's use out of them, really. If you take a day being 24 hours, I mean, generally, I charge my iPhone overnight. I take it off its dock before I go to work at like 8 o'clock in the morning. By the time I get home, in an evening, 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'm probably down to about 20%, 30% battery left after a day's use. So they still need charging overnight to use them. And the other big problem we've got is storage space as well. These are all SSD machines. The reason that they went with hard disks in the PS4 and the Xbox One is because getting SSD, to the size that modern day games will be able to fit on them is not cheap at the moment. A lot of people say, all right, we can use these and we'll have our games stored on micro SD cards. What's the biggest micro SD card you can get at the moment? Is it like 128 gigabytes? And you look at some of the next generation games at the moment, I mean, to download those, bandwidth caps and internet infrastructure aside, I mean, some of these games are like 20 to 30 gigabytes. So what you're going to have, your games library spread over like, 10 to 15 micro SD cards, maybe 2 or 3 games on each one. To me, that just sounds really messy and really fiddly, having, all these little SD cards with a couple of games on each one. You change them around if, you want to play these 2 games are on that card. To me, that sounds really impractical, really, and kind of, it's not even as convenient as having cartridges that, these are all things you've got to download and kind of label them up yourself. Not a big fan of that. And then you also look at the technology that these systems employ for user interface. It's touchscreen on a tablet and a phone, and that really is the kind of games that we get on these devices at the moment. All right, mobile GPUs might be improving at a rapid rate, but what are the titles that people are playing on phones and tablets? It's your Angry Birds, it's your Candy Crushes, you know what I mean? The reason is because people are playing these games in environments where their attention span is very short. You want a quick burst of a game for 5 minutes while you're on a train. Angry Birds and Candy Crush will satisfy that appetite. You're not going to sit there and play the next Battlefield game on your mobile phone on your morning commute to work. At least I know I'm not going to do that. Especially with the distractions you get on them, your Facebook notifications are popping up all over the place, new emails are coming in, text messages. You want something you can kind of, half focus on. I don't think you're going to get a fully immersive experience on these devices. And touchscreen doesn't really lend itself well to anything outside of, it's not even casual gaming, it's like ultra casual gaming. I know what the response is going to be. It's going to be, well, you can hook up a Bluetooth joypad to your phone or your tablet. Yeah, you can, okay, say I hook one up to my iPad or my phone, I'm still then hunched over a table, squinting at a 3 to 10 inch screen, listening to the sound of the game out a couple of tinny speakers at the bottom. And then you'll counter that with another argument, alright, why don't you hook that up to your HD TV? Alright, well at the moment, I've got my PlayStation 4. I sit in my living room on the couch, lying there with a controller, watching at my 50-inch plasma, hearing the sound of the games in 5.1 surround sound. I can, at the moment, hook my iPad and my iPhone up to my TV. To do that, okay, I'm going to need to plug the charger in because, it's probably going to die in the middle of graphic-intensive activities. So let's find a wall socket, plug the charger in, put it in the bottom of the iPhone. Also, then we probably need a dual adapter so I can plug the HDMI cable in as well. So the HDMI adapter is going to have to come with it as well. Then we need a cable to go from my phone into the back of the TV. Then I've got to sync a controller up to it via Bluetooth, get the game launched, get it all on the screen. Really? What an absolute mess on. Can I really be bothered to do that every time I want to play a game? Or would I rather have a console that's always there, ready to be switched on and game with at the touch of a button? I know which one I'd rather choose. And it isn't hooking my TV up to my phone and, doing it that way every time. So I really can't see that being the future of gaming. I really can't. And really, when you get to the stage of hooking up, TV cables and controllers and power cables, haven't you essentially got a console then anyway? So I'd love to know your thoughts. Personally, I think, consoles are going to be around for the foreseeable future, definitely. Some people are predicting the death of them in 5 to 10 years. No way can I see that happening. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Join me on Facebook, facebook.com/kookytech. My blog is kookytech.net. All the links are in the video description. And I'll catch you in the next video.